Merchant banks generally offer long-term financial means for clients. They are sources of long-term financial or funding means of customers. And basically, they also manage assets in terms of asset management, offer advisory services in areas of mergers and acquisitions, in areas of project financing, in areas of capital raising, equity, debt capital, and so on. So they offer tremendous value in the economic development of any nation.
Now, still on that, you've said that there are huge opportunities as far as Nigeria is concerned for merchant banking. Help us understand what those opportunities are.
Okay, when you look at it today, you will find out that we have a lot of infrastructural developments that need to take place that haven't taken place. We have financing in oil and gas. We have financing in agric, large-scale agric. We have financing in telecommunications and so on. And with the population of Nigeria, about 180 million, that is tremendous opportunity. Now, what you see is that the infrastructural gaps that we have offer opportunities for funding, for advisory services, and all the other things. And these are the roles that a merchant bank plays in the system. And to us, with just 5 merchant banks in Nigeria, we think that there is tremendous opportunity for merchant banking.
No, I was just going to mention that. I mean, if you talk about long-term funding, that is music to the ears of many businesses here in the country, because we know that many banks cannot meet that need. Many provide short-term funding across the board, either for big corporate or SMEs. And if we have merchant banks being able to, come in and provide this long-term funding, why do we, before Nova came to the picture, just had only 4 merchant banks with the kind of opportunities that exist in that space?
The truth of the matter is, in Nigeria, we used to have merchant banks and then commercial banks separate. And then some time ago, that demarcation was removed, and then the universal banking system came up, and every person could offer merchant banking and commercial banking activities and so on. And then back in 2013, that demarcation was brought back, and then gradually the merchant banks started springing up. So we had 4 merchant banks, and then Nova has joined as the 5th merchant bank. And I believe that if we focus truly, which is what we are going to do, in pure merchant banking activities, then we will be able to tap into those opportunities. The commercial banks basically provide short-term funding because the sources of their deposits are short-term in nature, but the merchant banks can arrange, for long-term funding and then be able to meet the needs of customers in terms of provision of long-term financing needs.
Now, speaking about customers, what specific products has Nova designed for its customers?
Okay, the traditional products of merchant banks, we have repackaged them. We have also come up with very new ideas and so on. We have in the areas of asset management. We have in the areas of wealth management. And what you notice here is that most wealth management, occurs offshore, because you have the offshore banks just coming to pick, the wealth management opportunities and manage the assets out there. We have M&A, mergers and acquisition, which have not, been deeply penetrated. We have the project financing. We have the advisory services. We have, most importantly, is the equity and debt capital. And all these we have redesigned, using technology to be able to offer them in a seamless manner to our customers.
Okay, now I also know that there are a number of wealth management firms around here in Nigeria, and some of them provide some of the services you just mentioned. But what's going to give Nova that edge over its competition, or within the space itself?
Mm-hmm. What is going to give us that edge is because from day one, we are starting as a merchant bank. Therefore, we have deliberately designed our technology and also hired our talents suited for wealth management, for merchant banking activities, and so on. And being a brand new merchant banking license, so from ground zero, our technology is tailored after that. which is similar to what obtains in the Western world. And I think that's what is going to give us the advantage over the current players in Nigeria.
Okay, I know that it may be too early. I mean, today is the launch of the bank, but you mentioned things like M&As and projects. I'm wondering, do you have any in the pipeline already that you're caught in at the moment?
Well, that is because of the clients involved is still very confidential. But we have pipeline of transactions and projects that we are looking at present.
Okay, let's talk about the banking industry here in Nigeria. Now, we know that non-traditional banking models are, now redefining the space, especially through technology. I mean, we have the fintech companies now trying to give banks a run for their money, in quotes. So I'm just thinking, what are your thoughts in terms of how we're seeing this space evolving and how technology is driving that change?
Yeah, it is going to be a competitive landscape. And technology will actually make the difference. The talents that you have will make the difference. The skills that you have will make the difference. And for us, I think the more the merrier. And as far as we are concerned, from day one, we decided that we see the fintech as a competitor. We see the traditional banks as competitors. We see also merchant banks in Nigeria as competitors. Therefore, we design our products and our technology just to be able to compete squarely in the arena.
Now, I'm just thinking, because still on the issue of fintech, many of them, I've interviewed quite a number of CEOs, and they've talked about the fact that in the future, they don't exactly see banks. What they see is different. That technology, but I would like to hear your thoughts on that, because it's actually an ongoing conversation. Maybe it might take Nigeria longer if it does happen, but it would appear that that may be happening on the global front. So I'm thinking, would that be a threat to you? I mean, how do you process that?
Okay, but what you see also is that if you flip it the other side, you also find out that there is nothing that prevents a bank from offering the same kind of services that a fintech is offering. And that is the reason why we deliberately selected the kind of technology we are going to work with, which is one that is digital, making use of artificial intelligence, blockchain technologies, and all the other things that are emerging as far as technology is concerned. Therefore, we are also able to take the fintech squarely. And because we have huge capital, the banking industry have huge capital that go with them. So they have an advantage over the fintech. The only thing probably the traditional banks don't have is the agility and flexibility that the fintech have. So if they are able to tweak their activities around that and then become more agile, you find out that they will be able to withstand the fintech.
Now, you've mentioned that, back to the issue of long-term funding, which is obviously good for the economy, you've mentioned that you will be going beyond the shores of Nigeria. Can you shed more light on that?
Now, what we are saying is that we don't have to have footprints, which is also the way fintechs operate. We don't have to have footprints in various jurisdictions. We can stay in Nigeria here and execute transactions in other African countries. We can float funds that can be deployed towards any kind of project across Africa and so on. That's basically what we are talking about. Because with technology, you find out you can do so many things. You don't need the brick and mortar. You don't need footprints.